Let's try our best. Let's hold it instant speed. We should. He gets the mana, so if he draws another ultimatum, we could be in trouble. Gets the mana anyways. Nice. Hopefully it's a negate. Oh my god! What a life to have lived. We finally get rewarded. Woo! Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time to watch Hello Good Game. We are playing Izzet Counterspell today, or Izzet Flash, maybe in a more appropriate name, by Cecilia Jupe, who reached Mythic rank 531 with it. Now, quick disclaimer, something I want to mention, get out of the way here. It's pretty funny. I didn't win a lot of matches today with the deck, and now that doesn't mean that this deck isn't good. I want to make that very apparent. Cecilia will be the first to say that this is actually a really good deck. I'm having a lot of fun with it, right? And even I had fun within my matches playing it. However, some days it's almost like your algorithm needs to be reset and you just get punished, right? So today's one of those days. The matches were still really, really good. We're still playing in top ranked Mythic, right? The content is great. Just know that even though we are losing matches with this deck, it doesn't mean the deck is bad. Which brings me full circle to the funny part here, which is we get this comment reoccurring on the YouTube channel, right? Which is like, this deck doesn't work, quit lying, you can't win games with it, I want 0 and 5,000, like, right? So, these things do happen, and you'd have to learn how to play a deck, and different playstyles are different and click for different people in different ways, right? So learn the deck, learn the meta within the deck. That's a lot of the times a big issue, is really knowing how to interact with the other decks, right? And this only comes through playing like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of matches with the same deck. And as a content creator, we're doing 1 to 2 new decks a day for you guys. So we actually don't have this privilege to dial these decks in so much. We do just try to get a quick grasp on them and then teach you guys all that we can. So in today's comments, this is your chance, you guys. You haters out there who love pointing out the misplays. MISSPLAY is my middle name, by the way. Let me know how I can improve within my Izzet Flash gameplay, or did I just get punished by the shuffler, by the algorithm matchups, right? So let me know. This deck does, like I said, revolve around counter magic and flash. So we have lots of things in that nature and a little bit of direct damage as well, because blue has counter magic, red has direct damage. So that's a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the deck list in its entirety, breaking down each individual card. What do they all do? Then we're talking about the deck tech, the strategies, the synergies, how do all of those individual cards come together to form a coherent archetype. And then we'll witness today's horrific gameplay footage. It's pretty entertaining though, right? Where I struggle to get even a single win. We do get wins, but we can't win a best of 3 is the thing. So we're going to try to break down the best we can the interactions between Izzet Flash and the rest of the meta, right? Taking you guys through our sideboard decisions, etc. And then we have our closing thoughts, all the propaganda goodies, etc., etc. We are live on YouTube every morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Standard. At 7 a.m. Mountain Standard, we're live on Twitch for 3 to 8 hours. And then we're back on YouTube at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard. So we have a full lineup of content for you guys each and every single day. We are just racing towards 10,000 subs as well. The next iteration of the 500,000 gem giveaway triggers at 10,000 subs. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and tell a friend who doesn't want to miss out on that as well. With that all out of the way, let's talk about Izzet Flash. We've got 4 copies of Opt to start this deck up. It's an instant speed spell, scry 1, draw a card. That's just generally really good value. You get to look at 2 cards and, take one of them. If you're not taking the first, you get to look at the 2, that is. So coming up for our 2 drops, we have Aether Gust. Only 1 copy of this in the main board. It is a little specific, and normally you see it sideboarded. However, with a single copy, we're not punished too much, and it can really come in handy. Instant speed, choose a target permanent spell that's red or green. Its owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. 4 copies of Brineborn Cutthroat. So now a little bit of meat and potatoes here. So when you are looking at these decks, it's the cards with 4 copies that are really important to the deck, and you want to be dropping them consistently. So take note of that in general on all decks. So this creature is a 2/1 with flash, and whenever you cast a spell during your opponent's turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Brineborn Cutthroat. 3 copies of Negate, instant speed, counter target non-creature spell. Quench, 3 copies of this, instant speed as well, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. 1 copy of Scorching Dragonfire, instant speed, dealing 3 damage to creature or planeswalker. If it dies, exile it instead. Into our 3-drops, we have Brazen Borrower, a 3/1 with Flash and Flying, can only block other creatures with Flying. And it actually has Petty Theft attached to it, which costs 2 at instant speed. And you get to return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand, which that's, quite nice sometimes, kind of making them have spent their mana that turn for nothing. Bonecrusher Giant, this is a 4/3. It has Stomp tag to it. For 2, and damage can't be prevented this turn. Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. And then Bonecrusher Giant itself, like I said, is a 4/3. And then when it becomes a target of a spell from your opponent, it's going to deal 2 damage to that spell's controller. 4 copies of Ionize, instant speed, counter target spell. Ionize deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. Gadwick the Wizened, a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, draw X cards. And when you cast a blue spell, tap target non-land permanent and opponent controls. 2 copies of Ral's Outburst, instant speed, dealing 3 damage to target. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So a nice way to remove a creature and then kind of replenish it as well. A little bit expensive though. And then we've got a single copy of Niv-Mizzet Parun for 6, 3 blue, 3 red. So a little bit hard to get out sometimes. A 5/5 with Flying can't be countered. Whenever you draw a card, it's going to deal 1 damage to any target. And then whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery, you're going to draw a card, which will then trigger the first ability again, right? So that's a lot of fun. These spells are accompanied by 2 Castle Vantresses, 7 Islands, 5 Mountains, 4 Steam Vents, 4 Temple of Epiphanies, a single Ketria Triome, and 2 Fabled Passages. We're playing traditional standard today, which means best of 3. We've got 2 additional Nivs. We have 3 Flame Sweeps. This is instant speed for 3, dealing 2 damage to each creature except creatures you control with Flying. 3 Mystical Disputes, instant speed for 3. We can cast it for 1 as long as it targets a blue spell, and we're countering target spell unless its controller pays 3. Lava Coil for 2, sorcery speed, 4 damage to target creature, and if it would die this turn, exile it instead. Negate, additionally 1 more of these. A Disdainful Stroke, instant speed for 2, countering spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater, and 2 more Aether Gust. So we're going to talk about the sideboard a little bit, but before we get there, we're going to talk about the general deck strategies and synergy. So how do all of these individual cards kind of come together to form that coherent archetype for us, right? So you basically always want to be playing on your opponent's turn is the main premise of the deck. There's very few things in the deck that we can't play on our opponent's turn. Niv-Mizzet is one of these. Gadwick is another. Bonecrusher Giant, is one of them as well. We can stomp on our opponent's turn, but we can't actually play the Giant on our opponent's turn. So we don't really want to play these on our main phase and use all of our mana unless we know our opponent isn't casting anything important next turn and we can take a turn off. But primarily, you kind of want to hold these spells until you can counterspell after them to protect them, or just to shut down what your opponent does next. Niv, I guess, is the only exception here, just because it has so much value within it. It can't be countered, so you don't need counter spells to protect it from entering the field. And then even if he does do something to it, at the very least, you're drawing a card and doing 1 damage, which is pretty good. But things like Gadwick, don't cast Gadwick unless you're safe next turn, you can take a turn off, etc. Or his board state isn't developed very far. So you can cast a big Gadwick and draw a card if you bank on drawing a Brazen Borrower, and now you can reset your opponent's card, and then maybe you counter after that, right? So I guess that's one scenario where you could cast Gadwick without having counterspell magic on the back end. But Bonecrusher Giant, you basically stomp that and then hold it for 3 until you can, pay 3 and not have that hinder your game plan of always holding your mana up until your opponent's turn or your counter spells and for your damage spells, etc. Right? So normally that's how we do it within the counterspell deck. This is kind of unique in the fact that we are not only countering our opponents, but we're doing damage to our opponents as well. So we do try to prioritize our counter magic here because we have Bonecrusher Giant dealing 2 damage to any target. So when something enters the battlefield and it only has 2 strength, we don't necessarily want to use a counter spell on it, a Quench or something, right? Because we can pick that up with our Bonecrusher Giant instead. So we're really making sure we're using the appropriate cards for the appropriate uses within the deck. And then that allows us to prioritize things with Quench, on those other things with like 3 strength and up. We even have the Scorching Dragonfire for that. And if things hit the field and you can't counter them, we can Brazen Borrow, Petty Theft them back to the hand. And then on your opponent's next turn, he's going to try to replay that. And then at this point, we should have hopefully drawn our counter, and then we can, stop it from entering the battlefield. So even if things enter the battlefield, it's not the end of the day. You can push them back and then counter them when the opponent tries to re-enter it, which is quite nice. Our main objective really here is just to ramp into Niv while controlling the field state until then. And then once you get Niv out and you can hold counter magic up, it's basically a good game, right? Because when you cast a counter spell, you're basically replenishing itself with a draw, and then you're doing chip damage as well. So that's incredible. And then whenever your opponent does things, it's triggering it. So ramp into Niv is your main objective. Secondary objective is to counter all of your opponent's appropriate spells. Third objective, I guess, would be to remove other spells that didn't make that priority of counterability. So that's that. And then once you have, that kind of game plan established and you're working your way up to Niv, you've got the Quench in hand, you've got 5 mana, you're not quite at 6. Well, okay, now we can play our Bonecrusher Giant for 3. We're still holding up our Quench mana, our Negate mana, right? So don't really force yourself out of mana, because that will allow your opponent just a free turn. He can do whatever he wants on his turn now, and that's what we don't want within this deck. We always want to be limiting our opponent's play on his turn. Forcing him to have to play on our turn is how we want that to go, and even then, we really don't want that to happen. We just want him to continue playing on his turn, and we can just counter on his turn and then play on our turn appropriately while holding up enough mana to use the counter spells on his turn. That's the general premise. That is the basic strategy of it. So let's talk about strategies and synergies of the cards within that general idea, right? So Opt is really good for the fact that we can draw a card with it. Yes, it's kind of cool to use it in the early matchup, right? To make sure you've got that land drop, but it is much higher value the later the game goes on, right? When you're top decking and you have an Opt, and now you get to look at the top card and you don't even draw it. So if it's a land, it can go to the bottom and now you get a fresh chance, right? So that chance of finding tools and utility that you need goes up, or the importance of it goes up the longer the match goes on and the less cards that you have available to you, right? And when you're opting and you're pulling a card, you don't necessarily know what you're going to need later on. Again, unless you're locked on land, unless maybe there's no counter spells in your hand at all and there's no early game interaction that you're looking for. So opt if you are stuck on land, if you're missing early game interaction. If not, try to save it as long as you can, because then as the game develops and things change and progress, now you're going to have a better idea of exactly what you need to progress through the game efficiently and effectively. With that being said, Brineborn Cutthroat, we get this out immediately. It's got flash, so you can play it on your opponent's end step, and then boom, you're back to countering, you're back to burning his creatures. Now the Brineborn Cutthroat is getting bigger, getting badder, and you can really lay some heavy damage in to your opponent with the Cutthroat. So that's one of the main damage dealers within the deck. Brazen Borrower, we talked about bouncing something to their opponent's hand with Petty Theft. If the situation calls for it, we can also just go straight in with the flash flying on our opponent's end step, hopefully triggering, the Brineborn Cutthroat up. And now we've got 2 attackers, and one of them has evasion through flying in the air, and 3 damage is quite a bit. Bonecrusher Giant, if there's no creatures to remove, try to hold on to this, and that's going to be your closing damage to get that last little bit of chip. Ionize, when you counter spells, this is dealing chip damage to your opponent too. So you can see it's not just about annoying your opponents with counter spells. You really want to just kind of get a little bit of field presence, do some chip damage, and then hold up counters while doing more chip damage, and then just finish the game with Niv-Mizzet, for example. The Outburst is really great because it replenishes your hand. We talked about that. And 3 damage to any target is cool too, so you can send that into the henhouse, your opponent's health points, if the scenario is appropriate. It seems like a simple deck, so I'm not sure why I struggled with it so much, right? I think that's why it was just our matchups. You guys are going to let me know for sure, though. Talking about the sideboard guide here, though, I guess main board too, make sure you're using your Castle Vantresses. This is another way to use your available mana on your opponent's end step, so you're not wasting your mana when you're holding your counter spells and then he doesn't play anything. It's not like you just wasted a turn. You're still going to get that scry, and you can look for more appropriate things for your next play lines. Anywho, sideboard. Determine what your opponent is playing. You can go view battlefield top right, and then take out what didn't work for them. So if they didn't have creatures to remove, right? If Bonecrusher Giant's stomp ability was basically useless, I'll get rid of that, for example, and then I'll put in things that are more useful. So maybe he was a blue deck that had counter spells and no creatures, so we take our Mystical Dispute instead. Maybe he had a token army, in which case we'll probably keep our Bonecrusher Giant, and we might drop things like our Brineborn Cutthroat because it's going to be chump blocked all the time, and then we run our Flame Sweep. Or maybe we keep our Cutthroat and we still run our Flame Sweep, and then we just try to get our Cutthroat strong enough that it survives the flame sweep, right? So just as long as you have a game plan, that is the biggest thing. Don't just sideboard cards without the plan, like, oh, this might be good. Like, make a scenario in your head of why this card is good and better than the card that you're taking it out for, right? If he's got creatures that are stronger than your Dragonfire or your Outburst or your Giant, you know, then we're running things like Lava Coil, for example. So it should be straightforward, and I know you guys all look for sideboard guides, but if you just develop some rules for yourself, some principles and guidelines, customs, whatever you want to call them, for sideboarding, you're going to be able to sideboard any deck effectively and just immediately as well, right? So just try to always think of the rules in play, or whatever you want to refer to them as. And again, negate. If your opponent didn't have any non-creature spells, if he was full creatures, boom, these 3 negates come out, and then if he would be playing creatures, if not non-creatures, so that's when we maybe put the flame sweeps and the lava coils in. And then Niv-Mizzet if, you know, there's no removal for cheap, like, what do we call it? I won't call it Heart's Desire, but that's the 1/1 token from the Lovestruck Beast. Heartless Act, right? So it can immediately take out Niv, which is pretty sad. So, yeah, make sure that your plays are appropriate. You never want to be wasting mana. If he does have really cheap removal, you know, maybe the Niv's not for you and you want to just hold up that low-cost game, right? So take out what was bad, put in what is good. That's my general guide. A really easy premise to go from as a base. Was it a creature deck? Was it a non-creature deck? Did his creatures threaten me, or did his non-creatures threaten me, right? Because it could be both, but which cards within that deck gave you the hardest time, and then try to deal with those cards, right? We can go more advanced of like, well, what is our opponent going to sideboard to affect us, and then we'll go around that, right? But for now, just as general principles and guidelines, that's basically it. So we talked about the deck list. We talked about the deck strategies and synergies. We touched on how to sideboard a little bit with the deck. So now let's get into the gameplay footage where we're going to break down all of the playlines and interactions between Izzet Flash by Cecilia Jupe, who reached 531 Mythic rank with the deck. And you guys are going to have a really good laugh at how hard I'm punished by either A, the algorithm, or B, my own ignorance in playing this deck. So I really appreciate you guys helping me out in the comments below. With that all being said, I did remind you that we're live every morning at 6 a.m. Mountain Standard on YouTube, and then 7 we're on Twitch, and then back again at 6 p.m. I'll live again on YouTube, in the Discord all day. We talked about the gem giveaway. Links for everything in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend, and most importantly, hit that bell icon so you're notified of all of our future jazz. Don't forget to watch to the end as well for our closing shenanigans, propaganda, etc. Take care, and I hope you enjoy these misplays. Well, this is fine, but I mean, the land's a little light, right? So, probably toss that. This is worse. Oh my lord. What a life to have lived. And we're still just keeping 2 land. Cry. I guess. Do we want to just go into game 2 immediately and not reveal what deck we are? So he can't sideboard against us? Right? Who knows? We could top deck to glory. Let's risk it for the biscuit. Make the most out of it. Alright, Thought Erasure. Gross. He can have the opt if he wants. Takes the Cutthroat. Might not have removal then. Or, oh, gross. Alright. No more land, I guess. We've had a weird fixation on the land this match. We need to let go of it. Fixate on some damage, baby. Gross. Well, can't take those. Gets the Surveil, though. He's got 3 in the grave, including Uro. We're basically prone to removal at this point. We know he's got a ton of it. Does he take damage and ramp? Just play an Uro from hand. Really only takes 1 damage. That's probably worthwhile, right? Gets the draw as well, which is great. I mean, yeah, we can't even cast that. That's brutal. I'd say this first match is over. He's already at 5, going to 6 here. Right, this is what I'm talking about.
Witness the ties that bind us all. Rise, my elemental friend.
Take the land out. Throws Nissa to the top or bottom, up to him. Down to 11. That's not the worst for how we started the match. I mean, 4 in the grave. He's getting closer to Uro. We did get rid of a land and get rid of his Nissa, so he's like back down to 4, which is nice. If we can pull another island, that would be pretty cool. We could draw a card. Oof. Into a Crisis. Gets the most out of it. We almost don't want to send it to the grave, you know what I mean? That's hard. We send it to the grave, it allows him just to like, kind of get his arrows going. And we can't just give him a turn. Oh my gosh, this sucks. We do get Cutthroat, which can attack, that means, though, potentially. As long as there's no hard cast Uro. Nor Nissa land, right? It looked like he threw it to the bottom, so he could have just had a second in hand. We'll have to see. Seems to be a hard decision. His 3rd Uro in what? The top like 5, 6, 7 cards? Nice, bro. Incredible, to be honest. You're really going for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8, 9. Is this an Ugin? We need a counterspell in hand. A Negate. But he is able to play an Uro soon. right? So if it's not in, you know, one of those bad boy Ugins, it is, at the very least, an Uro, which comes up, puts him back to 12. It's just like, what do you do? There is the dreaded Uro. Empty graveyard. We can get Gadwick in play and start tapping it. Let's actually just take a good draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We cast for 2. Oh, for 3! I didn't even look, I just went right for it. Math. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's 3 plus X? I thought it was 4 plus X. And he still just kills it. At least we draw 2 cards. And, yeah. Wow. Whoops. If we could have drawn 1 and have it have been the negate. Alright, now he's just going to gain life draw. Or she. I shouldn't say he. They. His 4th Uro in how many cards? Not many. That's incredible. We need a Brazen Borrower to bounce it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's incredible. I guess let's just pack it up. Yeah, he played around our Quench even. Alright. We can make this work somehow. I mean, we were behind from the very start. I mean, the mystical disputes are good until he gets ramped past us, right? Uro can basically just destroy us. It's a hard call. Like, he's playing around the Quench as well, which is hard to really do. We just need the hard counters like Negate, the Stroke. We don't really need either of these. It just comes down to the Uro. All that jazz. The Giant maybe isn't great. Okay, let's try our best. Maybe our second Niv would have been good here, just for consistency. Our opponent's still sideboarding against us. Let's try to make the most out of it. Playing first, please and thank you. Land is a lot better. This is friendly, you know what I mean? There's no way that this is a hard intro to the match for us. Oh, that was on our turn. Whoops. I thought that was his end step already. Or their end step. Yeah. Bomber. Probably takes Niv. Because you take one Ionize, you gotta do, like, there's another one right there. But if you don't take it, it's just counter town. It's a bummer. Probably takes Niv. That's a bummer for us. Oh well. So we just flash this in and kind of go from there. Yep, he can have it. We should be countering them once they've escaped when they're actually coming into the field if we're going to go that way. Let's just try to tempo him down with these Ionizes, pull more counters, etc., etc. And I don't care about Earls as long as they're not on the field. I mean, he just offsets all the damage we're doing. We gain another Borrower, which is pretty cool. He needs to pull our Ionizes before his Uro, or his Ugin, either or, I guess. It's bad that I associate them together. That's really nice art there. I think this is worth the counter though, right? He counters our Ionize. Yep, I'll keep it.
Time is fragile, yet it chews through the strongest metals.
We just toss it back. That's one of the nice things about that 4-cost Teferi. You can still cast once it's on the battlefield, which is great. Now we're still just ready to counter. He plays a land, he can play Teferi and Uro. So it's like, which one do we want to hit less? Because we're still one land away from being able to double counter. Okay. I mean, I guess he can counter this. Aether Gust it. I'm not sure if that's... Or he can't target it, it's blue. The land's good. The land's very helpful there. Nope, we need another blue source if we're going to do that. If he attacks, we can hit for 6 though, and he's only hitting for 4, so that could be beneficial. We get Teferi. We need more counters, man. We're just holding on here. Nissa is just gross. We have to counter it. You know he's got a counter for our counter. Yeah. Long con. Very nice, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that's been a good game.
The land shall conquer you.
Right for 7, lethal next turn. One, 2, 3. We could draw 2. Keeping 3 mana open. I guess this could kind of save us. Somehow, maybe? I don't know. Do we go for the kill? Or he's gonna immediately... we can't kill Nissa, so we should just go for it. Down to 7 question mark. Can't counter his Uro to gain life, though. That's not gonna work out. We just, 0 and 2, top 400. That's kind of how these things go, right? Oh, big old Crisis. Right? Leaves the mana open so we can't counter it. Not that we could. The Crisis is so powerful against counter decks.
Behold, nature's true power.
They have Vigilance, which is just a straight bummer. It'd be cool if they tapped, and maybe we could get attack throughs. But, no. And he could just, like, you know, play an Uro, so... That's game. There's no coming back from that. Let's wrap it up. Get a new one. A lot of land's better than no land at the end of the day. Niv-Mizzet's pretty cool too, as long as we don't have to sacrifice it. Double Scorpions, that's not good. Our opponents also want to play, which makes us so sad. We're gonna try our best though. Just getting smashed. But we do pick up a Spawn of Mayhem here, which is really nice. A third Scorpion, that's deadly. We could throw up the blocker for the draw. Okay, and a little bit of removal, that's alright. We need a third mountain, and we're all set. We could have Call of the Death Dweller and stuff, right? Ooh, Serpent. Serpent is good. It's got protection from multicolor, right? That's risky biscuits there. We can be tapping it though, and this is instant speed. So let's go to his turn. We're gonna pass. Just seeing what he does here before his attack phase. And yeah, so let's flash this in. We're gonna tap his Serpent. Resolve that. Kind of keeping our negate up, I guess, and then we still got Gadwick to block. Oof, we can't negate that though. That's juicy. Let's go ahead and stomp this then. So the Ionize is good. We need to cast something blue on his turn to tap Reggie. Ideally we're casting two things, but we don't have the mana. Unless he plays something silly first, which we need to basically just prey on. Let's take our 3 damage, he can't block anyways. Like if he gets a Demonic Embrace, he's gonna cast that. Makes his land a creature. So I guess we kill the land. We tap the Reggie. Cry. Do get a little bit of removal for Scorpion, I guess. But he can attack with the Serpent. Free and clear, down to 8. Yikes. What's the wrong color land? We need to just straight up defend, I guess. We're gonna kind of try to bank on him not pulling anything here. Well, do we crush one of these? No, let's just defend. This still can't defend, so let's attack with it. Down to 16. We are at a sad 8 with tapped mana. Let's see what he's got going on. Taking 7 damage here. And then when this other Scorpion dies, we'll lose. But we have to try our best. Oh no, we die from this Scorpion. Math. Ooh. Alright, I like the Flame Sweep idea. For the most part. Scorpions. Lava Coil only hits his Mayhem and Rankle if he's got it. It's not instant speed. Aether Gust is dead. Niv-Mizzet could save us. But we need the land and we're having a hard time getting there. So I think a Lava Coil for sure. I don't see too many non-creatures. We're going to drop the negates and take sweeps instead. Because even if we can sweep for 2 and then Bone Crush for 2, like we're going to kind of add that damage up a little bit. So that should be fine. Yeah, let's go with this. Playing first here. Apologies for the noise. 3 land is good. Let's toss the land, I guess. Keeping all the utility we can. Kind of seems like a must for us right here. So if we can Lava Coil it, we don't want to Quench it. Let's pass, let him go, get our Cutthroat before we start casting our instances and sorceries, ideally. We could trade with it here, but let's just let it hit. Hopefully there's no immediate removal on it. There is. Of course there is. Well, let's just take that. Less than ideal, but you know, sometimes those things do happen. Quench in play here, which is nice. Hopefully we draw another land. Cry, right? At least, you know, then he can't take our Quench and play the Quench on us. So we can at least have an opportunity to blast it, which we don't get. Getting hit for 4 a turn here. 2 land away from Niv. Good game. That's just sad. 2 losses in a row. We're gonna have to try to pick it up here before we lose our numbered rank. Opponent goes first. We have so much land that this could be good. Right into an Ionize, right into our Outburst. Let's opt off. Land can go. Just activate our Giant. Looks like Elementals, if I had to guess. Definitely Temur Shenanigans. Ionize is up. Take our Scry. Looking for a Niv, I guess. Borrower's good. Ionize is still up. That's fine. Gives us a target for our Giant. I don't want to lose my counterspell. Let's gust it. One, two, it gives us 2, so we just need to play untapped still. Doesn't matter what color. His turn. I guess we could have done it ahead of time, and then he wouldn't have extra mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7. Plays the Giant, that's fine. Plays another one, that's his mana. So let's grab this one. Blast him. Now we can blast this thing. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be 6. Instant speed, right? Let our opponent, or should we? No. Let's hold up our mana. Let's see if he attacks. Blast it. And this won't allow us to grab... Well, we will grab it, but we won't be able to play it. Ooh, and a Negate. That actually works really well. Never mind. I was trying to go for an Ionize. He just plays a creature. That's okay. We should save our Borrower for something more threatening. We get another one, which is good. Let's take the Scry. Niv can stay. That's great. We just have a Negate for 2, so let's play our Giant. Kind of take field control. If it's, you know, a big old Planeswalker, we got him. If not, the Borrower is active on it. Wow, I'm glad we have that Negate off the top. That could have been terrible news for us. Does he have another one? It doesn't matter. We won't be able to do anything about it. Let's pay 2 life here. Hold it up. He needed the mana for that, didn't he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7. Let's try our best. Let's hold it instant speed. We should. He gets the mana, so if he draws another ultimatum, we could be in trouble. Gets the mana anyways. Nice. Hopefully it's a Negate. Oh my god! What a life to have lived. We finally get rewarded. Woo! That's making the trailer, boys. Niv with the top deck. The RNG gods were on our side there, that's for sure. Well, we know he's casting ultimatums with his life, so that's gotta happen. Quenches can go? Just because he ramps so hard? A couple Quenches. Gadwick can go a little bit. The Bonecrusher wasn't that good either. That Aether Gust could probably save us. I don't know how much the Borrower saves us either. Let's take a Quench. Wish us luck. Yeah. A secondary Niv could be cool. We're gonna have to work with it. Nice. Let's not let him ramp. Let's just smash it. Alright. He gets it anyways. Ha! The 2 damage is cool. Can't be counter protection from blue. How's that for a sideboard card? Ouch. Okay, we need the Bonecrusher in play. This is what it is. Oh my lord, we didn't have our counter up for that because we were worried about the Ceratops. Nor will we be able to. We're casting it on his upkeep. just so we get the counter, because it's his turn now on our Cutthroat. Oh, Big Daddy with the negate. Cry. Getting hit for 5 for sure. Oh my lord. Well, we had one good match today at least. Oh. Hit for 10. What do you even do? Okay, let's try that again. That ramp is annoying. Maybe Flame Sweep's worth it? I don't know. He's got just the one ramp creature that's annoying to us. And we even immediately dealt with it. Wow, wow, wow. Yikes. I mean, going first will help us. And we even got pretty lucky in that first match, if we're, you know, being honest. That's so much land. No counter spells here. We have the castle. Oh my gosh. Take our scry. No more lands. A negate. Okay. I love Struck Beast is going to dominate us. We probably need the draw with Gadwick. All right. Let's tap this beast. I guess another negate is good. A third. Wow. No attacks. We might have to double block if he doesn't cast something for us to counter. He can't kill them both, so he's got to pick, and he's going to kill Gadwick because it's more valuable, but we have a second, which is kind of cool. Negate doesn't work on Terror. Cry. Oh, what a life to have lived. Let's draw one card here. We can draw 2, hope 1 is an opt. No. That's not happening. Good game. So that's 3 losses back to back here. I'm going to play one more for you guys, but you know, there's no need to kick a dead dog. Alright guys, today's feature match, number 37, Pretty. He's always putting out just banging decks. 1 lands. We can't dare take that. 3's better. And we toss a Giant. Or do we toss a Gadwick? We probably toss Gadwick, don't we? We'll pull another Gadwick for sure. Let's just take that early game scry. Quench is good. We've got some Salt Eye on the other end. There goes a Giant. Or a Cutthroat, probably. Both are good. Cutthroats might be a little bit better. Especially if he's not playing creatures. He's not seen our Quench, though, which is great. Let's hold up counters. Probably just an Uro, right? Right into the Krasis, which we can smack. He knows we have this, which is strange. He just wants that draw. He's going deep. Another Quench. That could be really good. It's not a counter, so I don't think we need it. Let's pass our turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, this is a bummer. Nice. Hydra Krasis is so good right now. Land can go. Pass our turn. Taking some damage here. Uro's annoying. Just so much value. You know what I mean? It's very hard to keep up with, and you basically can't counter it. When the Hydra gets countered, it still is able to draw and gain life. So countering it's kind of like not necessarily very nice. Making us play on our own turn. What a straight bully. I don't think that's worth quenching either, but you know, it is what it is. That's our hand, so let's go in deep. He's got enough for Uro to come and play, so good game. Cry. Or Nissa, and then Uro.
We will not fail.
Nice.
I can help you no longer.
Back's gonna hurt.
When we're in one of these decks, time is actually our enemy. We need to close it off quickly because the longer he has, the more efficient he's at winning. He's a mid-range to combo deck, or sorry, mid-range to control. whereas we are aggro to control. Our mana curve is much earlier than hers, so the longer the game goes on, the higher chance he has of just generally winning from value. Ugh, gross. Let's go to game 2. Aether Gust for sure. Negate for Nissa, I guess. Dragonfire's not really worth it. We just need to stop Nissa from hitting the field in general. We could get under him. That eliminates annoying Krasis. Let's take the disputes. And let's drop some giants. I don't think they were very useful there. It is really hard to say. The Negate and Niv I'd also somehow like to work in. There's not too much removal for us. But it is always nice to take that draw. Let's do our best. Playing first hopefully helps us. What is up with this land? You know, just some days you can't win, boys. What a life. Deep breaths. Deep breaths, you guys. I don't know, maybe I'm misplaying this deck absolutely horrifically, but I just feel like we're being punished. I should go into the comments for the deck creator here and be like, this deck's a lie. You can't get any wins with it. I lost all my matches, right? We see that pretty often actually in the comments, and it's a lot. Like, some days you just have bad luck, right? Shutting down these cultivates is making me happy inside, at least. If we can opt to counterspell here. Watch him have immediate removal on our Niv, too. Ugh. Bummer. Try to bait him with the opt, I guess. Right? Oh. Just getting bullied here. Big money, big money, big money. Once you counterspell our opt, stop it. Oh, fuck. Good game. Let's see what we draw. Yeah. More land. That's great. Woof. Well, that was a humbling experience. We got some work to do in our rank department now. Right, so it's weird that I can play free-to-play decks within Mythic and Diamond and be successful with them, and then we go into this and just get punished, right? So lots of the times, and I'm bringing this up again from earlier, where people hate on the deck. They're like, this deck doesn't work. It's trash. Why are you lying to people? It's like, well, no, it just didn't work for you today, right? Maybe play it a little bit, learn how to interact with it and then with the meta more, right? So even though I've lost all of these games today, I still think this is a very good deck. Like, Cecilia didn't reach top 500 Mythic off of a trash deck that doesn't win, right? So even though I may be trash, this deck is not. And that's what brings me full circle, is like, how come I can play the free-to-play decks so well? Like, better than some of the people, and then these top ranked decks I can't play as well. So it's like I don't know how to describe it. If you struggle playing a free-to-play deck and can't grasp your mind around it, to like kind of wiggle out those win rates, that these are going to be a lot harder, I find, even though you know, there's more mythics and there's more rares, but some of the strategies and playlines are so in depth. You know, they must be, or I'm just missing them. I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of this. Regardless, I think it's a great deck. Check it out. Let me know how you guys make out with it. As always, I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you so much. We're live on YouTube in the morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Standard. At 7 a.m. Mountain Standard, we're live on Twitch for like 3 to 8 hours, sadly. And then we're back on YouTube at 6 p.m. in the evening, Mountain Standard, always. And links for everything is in the description below. 500,000 gem giveaway, triggering at 10k subs, so don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified of when that drops, or just actually probably be in the Discord. That's even better. Links for everything in the description below. I have no upgrades to this deck. I guess we can make this video of how not to play Izzet Flash, right? Regardless, we're on to a new deck, and hopefully we have better luck with it. So thanks for watching. Do appreciate your time. Go have yourselves a great day.